What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another Overhit video here on Fort Misery Gaming. And today, guys, I want to talk about some issues we have with equipment, and the one thing I think that Overhit needs to definitely revamp as far as gear goes in the game, and that is going to be gear fodder and or charms, as you guys that are coming from Epic 7 would call them. So with that, let's go to my inventory for an example. So I spent probably about let's go to just the weapons first. We'll go by each category: the swords or weapons, however you want to call them, the chest piece, and then the accessory. So I probably spent about 700 AP between last night and this morning of doing just pretty much I was just going through and doing the campaign, because they actually nerfed big time the drop rate for charms in this side story or event. That's too much Epic 7. But in this event compared to the Colette event, which the Colette event you could only get accessory charms, so we got cluttered with accessory charms, but a lot of us who have been synthesizing like crazy 4-star gear probably are even out of accessory charms at this point, unless you've been very, very casual and haven't really been doing a lot of raids. But at any rate, this is the amount. Look at all those 4-star pieces of gear, of weapons, all this 4-star gear. And then this is the fodder I have in comparison. That's it. And obviously you need tons and tons of fodder for each 4-star piece of gear, because you have to take all these 4-star pieces of gear, get them to max level, and then you have to synthesize them. So you guys see the problem of the amount of fodder EXP we have there. And it's going to be the same for every piece. So here is our armor. Look at all those 4-star armors. Look at all that 4-star armor. And then look at the fodder. You know, look at the lines. There is more lines of armor 4-star gear than I have of actual fodder. So there's the 2 pieces there, which are charms. But then look at there. That's 1, 2, 3 lines compared to 3 lines thereabout. So it's about equal. But the problem is I need probably 3 to 3.5 lines depending. You know, obviously the charms are going to do a lot more EXP, but I only have 2 4-star charms. I don't even have any 5-star charms right now for armor. So that's the big issue. And if I were to level this up now, like for instance, let's go ahead and level one piece up. So let's go ahead and fortify this piece here. So we'll do the 2 4s, and then we'll do, let's see, there. We'll do one of those and one of those. So, all right. So we'll go ahead and use up all the armor pieces just to illustrate, you know, where we're at in the game. And I don't know why Nexon chose to make the, oh, they didn't even max fortify it. I gotta do one more piece. My bad. All right. I don't know why Nexon chose to lower the rate, because I heard in Korea, or not necessarily Korea, but for sure on the Canadian server at soft launch, that the rate for fodder gear drop was just so much higher. Now, I don't know if the charm rate was higher for charm drops for events, or if it was the actual 3 and 2-star gear fodders that you get the majority of the time in hard mode, of what if that was, you know, significantly lower. So I don't even think this will get to 40 if I do all this stuff, but we can try. Let's see. Close, 34. Okay, so now there's no fodder of gear left outside, unless I want to use 4-star gear as fodder, which I typically don't want to do, but you may have to at this point, because there's literally nothing else. So I'd have to go back into story, use my AP to try to get more gear fodder, and through all that I wasn't even able to make 1 round of synthesized gear. I only have 2 at the moment, and then 34 at 1. So that's the major problem I feel that Overhit has as far as like progression. I feel especially for the free-to-play players, like gear is like the main thing they would need to close the gap. Not to necessarily compete with the whales, because the whales are going to have the same opportunity, but to close the gap as far as getting to the higher level raids, because you want to try to get to level 9 raid to at least be able to get 3rd place, so that you get 2 drops for a potential 5-star piece. Me personally, I've been doing level 9 raid for probably 4 or 5 days now, getting consistently 2nd and 1st place. Very rare if I get 3rd. You know, if I randomly get matched up with a higher level players that boot me out of 2nd, it sometimes does happen, but it's very rare. but even myself, I've yet to get one 5-star piece of gear, you know, doing 15 to 18 raids per day. I'm not refreshing with gems on raids, so the people that are doing their 5 refreshes a day on raids are probably having more probability of getting 5-star gear drops than myself, but this point being is I haven't seen one yet. So I think this needs to change. So let's go into ways that we could get this to change down the line. So obviously in our special quest per day in Terror Shift, we have the different events, which is the gold, the upgrade materials for your rainbow catalyst. The majority of that's what we go for in there, plus your specific typing. But this is also the armory. So you guys see here, you get these drops. Every run you get a couple of them, right? You can get 5-star and 4-star drops. I believe you get 2 per, something like that. So that's good, but the problem is we can only get 2 runs. And if I were like, for instance, I've done my 2 runs for the day. If I were then to try to go in here to do it again, it's gonna cost me 50 gems for 1 run. And you can only do it twice. So if I want to spend 100 gems a day, which honestly, it is just not worth it, I'd rather just use my AP I can get from doing arena and from doing friendship runs to just farm more fodder gear from campaign. Even if it's not going to be as, you know, potent as charms, I just feel like 100 gems, which is, you know, a third of a multi-summon a day, is not worth the amount of EXP you're going to get for your gear. So unfortunately, we're kind of at a bottleneck for progression in gear, because everybody is going to say the same thing. Like, they have all this 4-star gear that they can't synthesize, and it holds you back drastically for progressing in this game, which is very, very unfortunate. So the one thing they could do first off is to increase this to maybe 5 runs a day. I think if they, you know, more than doubled it, because I know back in Destiny Nights days, like these type of events that we could do daily, we got to do 5 runs a day, I'm pretty sure. Or the refresh rate for your gems was so much less that it wasn't a big deal to refresh a couple times, but here it is a big deal. As far as refreshing the armory, the warehouse, and the treasury goes, of that, honestly, if you're going to do 50 gems, you should get 2 runs. You should get the same amount of runs that you would normally get. So, like, if you told me 50 gems, I mean, I could do it twice, and I would get 2 runs of armory and 2 runs of warehouse, I would probably do it. You know, and even if you wanted to make it, but I mean, honestly, I think it should be 10. I think it should be 10 gems, 20 gems, you know, something like that, more reasonable. But 50 for 1 run is just absolutely absurd. That's just a ripoff, in my opinion. I feel it's not worth your gems. So that's my 2 cents on that. That's one way they could fix it. Obviously, the other way they could fix it would be to go back to this event, and where we can potentially get drops of the upgrade equipment. So 1-star, 3-star, and 2-star upgrade equipment. I don't think I've even gotten a 3-star upgrade, but you see here, it's either you get upgrade equipment or you get character drops in gold. So they need to decrease the amount of fodder drop in the game, because honestly, we don't need to level so many units. And even if you're a completist like me who wants to, you know, level all your units to max level for the dupes that you have in them, just bring them into events and let them level just like we do in Epic 7. There's no reason we need so much fodder drop in the game. So they need to decrease the rate of fodder drop, and they need to increase the rate of item drops, of gear fodder. Even if they only do it in campaign and say you get like 1 of each type, for instance, per run, or 2 of each type, or guaranteed 1, or something like that of fodder drop for regular campaign, that would help us significantly. If we had, you know, half as much character hero drops and double the amount of fodder drops for gear, that will help us a lot in the game. And you're not doing us like a huge favor. Like, we still have to grind for gear. We're still capped at the amount of, you know, 4-star pieces of gear we can get, because getting 4-star gear is super, super rare in hard mode. So I don't see how Nexon is going to lose money by doing this, by changing the rates of giving us more gear drops as opposed to hero drops. So that's another way you can do it. Obviously, you can also go into these events, and you can also go back and increase, like, change it back to what the Colette rate drop was. You added all the pieces of gear, which was awesome. The fact that we can get our chest pieces and our weapons charms as well, but we are not getting the rate nearly as high as it was for the Call It event. So it's like you took 3 steps backwards by trying to go 1 step forward, so it didn't really matter. It was just kind of a moot point. So, you know, I don't really see the point in what Nexon did there as far as changing up the event in that aspect. So those are 2 of the ways. The other way is I've heard through the grapevine that potentially we are going to get a new shop-ish thing down the road. I don't know what the currency is, if we're going to get an additional currency by doing modes, but I heard like that's going to give us more keys for different things. So if we get more keys to do like armory and things like that, then we're going to be able to use that as well to do more runs. Like maybe it's like every 20 campaigns you get a key for armory, something like that. So that way, you know, and they shouldn't cap it. So like, say if we get more than 2, so say we let it auto farm overnight, and we do, let's say you do 100 runs. So every 20 runs you get 1 key. And it could be random. They could give it to gold. They could give it to the catalyst, or they could give it to the armory. So depending on which one you get, you know, then it goes in that specific area. But don't cap it where it's like you can only get 2 and then you can't get them anymore. Like, let it overflow just like we can in energy. So that way, if like say we get like 10 drops of armory, then when we wake up in the morning we can do 10 runs of armory. Like something like that would be good. Or straight up let us use excess gold that we have, because once you pretty much max your dupes, you don't really need a lot of gold for leveling up gear in this game compared to Epic 7. So it's not like you need to keep an excess amount of gold. So like if we would go into a shop here, like in a combined shop here, and add something here, you know, we have our friend points, our developmental items, our soul store, and AP merchandise. Like add this to where we could actually use gold to buy like weapon charms, to buy armor charms, to buy accessory charms. That way we have something to use for our gold. We can progress our gear, and that will help a lot of the free-to-play players close the gap in the PvE content they're getting frustrated clearing if they're not lucky with their pulls and they're not getting lots of dupes of SSRs, you know, to help them progress in the game. Because really, progressing in gear is hard. It's really hard, and that's the free-to-play answer to close the power gap in the PvE content. You're never really going to close the gap in PvP. So I don't want to misconstrue you guys. The whales and the megalodons and the dolphins are always going to have an advantage over a free-to-play player because they're going to summon more often, and because of how this game is structured, getting dupes is where you increase your power most significantly in this game. With your skill ups, with your level cap increase, everything like that is going to obviously give you a greater advantage. So don't think that just if they do change gear and they make gear easier to level up and to synthesize, it's not going to necessarily take you from PvP, say you're in gold and you're going to be able to get to diamond overnight. It's just not going to happen. Like, you're going to have to invest monetarily wise if you really want to do that big jump like that. But the good side is it will allow you to progress further in PvE, whether that's finally finishing hard mode in story, 3-starring different areas in story, or if it's being able to get into Hunt 8, Hunt 9, you know, things like that. Or not Hunt, sorry, Raid 8 and Raid 9, so that way you guys can progress your gear even better. You can get more drops of 4-star gear to synthesize, and then you can potentially get 5-star gear drop as well. So anyway, guys, that is the topic for today of what I really wanted to cover. This was definitely an issue I wanted to address with the community, and I want to hear all your guys' feedback of other ideas you guys feel that we should have to better enhance and level up gear in the game with the lack of resources that we have right now to level gear. Definitely drop those in the comment section down below. Any really good comments that you guys give me, I will pin to the top of the channel. I'll respond to you guys. I'll like, heart, all that kind of cool stuff to make sure you guys get, you know, highlighted in the video. And definitely, if this video was awesome for you guys, make sure you guys share this out to Nexon, to, you know, the Overhit communities, so that, you know, us as a community can be heard more and more to Nexon. And I'm hoping they watch some of the content creators, or they read some of the Reddits, or they read some of the Facebook posts, and they don't just like not read anything after they post stuff. I'm hoping that they do listen to us, and I know it's going to be a long process to see where we want the game to be eventually, but I'm hoping it will get there one day, you know, over the next couple months. and we'll be in a better place. So anyway, guys, this is your boy Fort Misery Gaming. If you guys did like today's video, as always, hit the subscribe button down below, enable the bell icon so you guys are notified, because YouTube has a way of not letting you see my videos even if you are subscribed. So make sure you click that bell icon and comment as well of all your feedback for today's topic. And until then, guys, this is Fort Misery Gaming. We'll see you in the next Overhit video. Peace out.